For years, if not decades, actually, yes, decades, Americans in Washington have ignored the real issues behind the Israel-Palestine issue. And remarkably and surprisingly, they are still doing so, even though there is a full-fledged genocide going on against the Palestinian people. Millions of Palestinians are at risk and, in fact, are getting disease and lacking clean water and food, and the list goes on and on and on. I'm here outside of Brookings, the Brookings Institution center-left think tank in Washington, D.C., where Susan Rice spoke, and she gave a very nice talk. However, the talk carefully avoided any mention whatsoever of what is happening in the Middle East. It's amazing, actually, with the expanding war that Israel is expanding continually. There was no mention of what is actually happening and what is the U.S. interest. So I wanted to know, what would she have to say to the people who are concerned and are concerned about life and liberty for millions of people? And here's her answer.
Question. Let's take it from the lady in the back with the blue dress.
Thank you. What advice would you give Americans who are concerned about the genocide against the Palestinians and feeling like they're hitting a brick wall in Washington? Particularly people who are simply speaking up for human life and rights under a law.
Well, I'm not sure it's my role to give advice to activists of any stripe. I think the administration is working day and night to try to finally achieve a ceasefire and the return of the hostages, an end to the suffering of the people in Gaza, and put in place the kinds of regional arrangements that can help ensure Israel's long-term security, which is vitally important to the United States and to the region as a whole. The suffering that the people of Palestine have endured is horrific, as was the suffering of the Israeli people after the unspeakable terrorist attack on October 7th. And the suffering is too much, and it needs to end. And I'm grateful and proud of the efforts of my friends and colleagues in the administration to try to end this. I can only imagine their frustration. And I can only imagine that, every day that passes for the families of those that are still held hostage or don't know the fate of their loved ones, what they're suffering through, and what they're enduring is horrific as well.
So that was wholly inadequate. The question was, how would you respond to Americans? To say you're not willing to give Americans any response whatsoever to their valid concerns is a cop-out. To repeat the White House, basically a script written by somebody in or around the White House, is simply a cop-out. And I know she can do better. I know she's smart, and I know she has a better answer.